everybody! ¿Cómo está? Ian Lewis here and welcome to Exploring Together. Today, I'm in a city that through history has been called of many different ways. Some might know it as Ligos, Byzantinum or Constantinople. But nowadays, we all know it as Istanbul. Have arrived to Sultanahmet. I don't know how you pronounce it. In this place we have the main attractions of Istanbul. To my left side we have the Blue Mosque, whereas at my back is the Hagia Sophia Museum. And the very first two curious things that we could see in the Sultanahmet is the obelisk at my back and this other one who is now at my back as well. Now, I don't have too much information about the THEODOSIUS obelisk, but I have a very curious fact. You see, the other day I was thinking in Spanish, my native tongue, and I realized that when you refer to a year in Spanish, you either say antes de Cristo or después de Cristo. The abbreviation for both of them is either AC or DC. But then I thought, in English, you have BC and AD, before Christ and after disease? And that curious question made me went deep into studying, trying to understand the old biblical scrolls. And after minutes, hours, weeks, months of studying, I came up with the conclusion that AD stands for Anno Domini, which basically is Latin expression for the year of our Lord. Curious fact number one. We have arrived to our first destination of the day, the Blue Mosque. So the Blue Mosque was built between 1609 and 1616. Nowadays it is still used as a mosque, so there are certain periods of the day where you cannot go in because people come here to pray. It is as well one of the two mosques that has 6 minarets. I'm missing a finger because I'm holding the gimbal, but 6 minarets. Minarets are those towers over there. And this is of course very controversial because the other mosque that has six minarets is the Kaaba Mosque, and that is the one in the Mecca, the most important one for the Islam. Guys, you have to remove your shoes, so they give you these bags to put them in. And maybe that's the reason why for the line. I'm not 100% sure, but I would say that this is marble. Certainly looks like so. So, I just met Anita, and she will give us her impressions about the Blue Mosque.
The Blue Mosque is very smelly, but very, very pretty, and it's got so many colors on the inside. And then the outside, like the name suggests, it's just blue. I think it's made of marble.
Yeah, I think so. I was thinking the same.
And as you can see, all the women have to wear kind of these blue head scarves.
Yeah, and men, they have to cover their legs, you know, with pants or some leg scarf. I don't know how you say it. But overall, it's very, very beautiful. It's a pity that it's being revealed.
Under construction. Reconstructed.
Yeah. It's a pity that it's being reconstructed, but it feels different, you know. It's another level of touristic attraction for sure. As you may notice, this fence here is what divides the tourist side, which is where we are, of course, to where people go to pray. And you can see that there are some people praying. It is a real pity that we cannot see the Blue Mosque completely. The fact that it's being reconstructed doesn't allow you to see the most amazing parts, the main cupola, you know. But all in all, I have to say that it is very impressive. It is made out of more than 20,000 handmade tiles. The amount of effort that must have meant to create this. Insane. Mixed feelings, guys, mixed feelings. Mixed feelings indeed. The thing is that the Blue Mosque was from all Istanbul what I wanted to know the most. And the fact that it's being repaired is a little bit frustrating because first, I couldn't see it properly, and second, is that I couldn't make a video for you. Which is a pity. But the reason why we came to Istanbul is because I was certain that there was more than just one mosque to see. And that's why we are now going to Hagia Sophia. Before we go to Hagia Sophia, I would like to give you a little bit more context about the city of Istanbul. But first, let me find a shadow, it's really warm. Now I'm gonna try to summarize as much as I can the history of Istanbul. You see, the very first version of Istanbul was Ligos. Ligos was a small settlement, not exactly well developed, but it had one very important thing, and that was the strategic location where it was placed. This area is also known as the Golden Horn. The Golden Horn is a peninsula at the beginning of the Bosphorus Strait. And if you don't know, the Bosphorus Strait is the one that divides Europe and Asia. So whoever is in charge of the Golden Horn will have very strong and influential power in terms of trading. Because basically you will be on charge of the trading routes between Europe and Asia. And in the 7th century before Christ, the Greek, interested in the territory, they took control of this peninsula. And after that, the Greek were in power of this area until the 4th century. And when the Greek Empire was no longer in its glory, the Roman Empire took control of this area. So the city that used to be Byzantium turned to be Constantinople. And it was Constantinople because Constantino I, the Roman Empire. It is also important to know that Constantino was one of the most influential and important emperors. For example, he's the one who allowed Christianity to be part of the Roman Empire. But Constantino also understood how important this area was. And he needed Constantinople to be the Rome of the East. And it was under the Roman Empire when very important buildings were built, like the Obelisk of THEODOSIUS or Hagia Sophia at my back. Now, trying to keep it short, the Western Roman Empire fell, I'm not sure if it was 4th or 5th century AD. But the Eastern Roman Empire was standing still and the capital was Constantinople. And the Eastern Roman Empire lasted until 1453, when after 53 days, the Sultan Mehmed, I think so, from the Ottoman Empire conquered and took control of what nowadays is known as the Golden Horn. But Ian, after all of these explanations, why is it called Istanbul? The word Istanbul is a derivation from Stamboulin. And Stamboulin is a Latin phrase that stands for to the city. And in the ancient times, there were signals in the trading roads that indicated Stamboulin, to the city. That was the way that traders used to know where to go. And the name of Istanbul was something that Atatürk decided to do. Atatürk is who founded this country, by the way. Now, I'm not exactly sure why he decided to change it, but what I could read was because the name of Constantinople wasn't a representation of the Turkish culture, so he wanted to make something that was from here. And after that ridiculously long explanation, I'm gonna make the line so we go inside of Hagia Sophia. So guys, if the audio is worst, it's because at the entrance I had to give my drone, my microphone and the gorilla put, which of course makes me worry. Hagia Sophia was opened the year 360 AD and it was the first place for Christian in Constantinople. So the real cathedral is not this one, it was destroyed a couple of times. This one, the one that is standing now, it was built the 6th century, and this cathedral became the most important one in the Orthodox Christianism. And as we said before, in the 15th century, the Orthodox Roman Empire fell under the hands of the Ottoman Empire. And then the cathedral turned into a mosque. And a very interesting thing that maybe you have already noticed is that when the Ottoman Empire took control over Constantinople, they replaced most of the characteristics of the Christians inside of Hagia Sophia with the objects and characteristics that belongs to the Islam. And I have to say, this is very impressive, guys. It really is. Behind me at the top there's something very interesting. There is an apsis where it is the figure of Virgin Mary with a kid, which of course must be Jesus. And at the side of Virgin Mary and Jesus, we have two circle calligraphic symbols that belong to Islam. And that basically means that in one building we have symbols of two different religions. Something that I find completely mind-blowing, interesting and beautiful. Something very interesting about this building is that there are no stairs. To go to the upper floor, you have to go through a ramp. Look at this. Explorers, I must say that I am impressed with Hagia Sophia. Okay guys, it is time for me to go to the hotel, rest a little bit and change my pants for shorts because I am freaking melting myself. But don't worry, because we're gonna be back in the streets of Istanbul. But that will be in another video. I know my friends, don't be sad. ELOS will be coming to your screen soon. In the meantime, what you have to do is to like, share it and subscribe. And I will be seeing you soon. You Turkish explorer. In the próximo episodio of Exploring Together. Extraordinary.